Well, good morning. Welcome back to Monday Morning Chat. An old new production. Yeah, you got it. You understand the old new production. Um, I don't know what's going on with y'all's life because, I have friends of my page that are all over the world. But here in the U.S., we got a lot going on. We got the inauguration coming up here pretty quick. They're fighting for that on both sides, of course. But the main thing we've got going on is those fires out in California. Oh my God! And they say they were all set. It's not like you know a transformer blew like a couple of years ago. A transformer blew and caught a bunch on fire, or lightning strike. I mean, these are set. And now the people that have lived there for years and call this place home and have called their land home, they ain't going to be able to rebuild because they can't get it insured. And why can't they get it insured? Well, because these insurance companies are pulling out of California like rats on a sinking ship. And I don't mean that. That's just a terminology. They're getting out of there. I understand insurance companies. They're there to make money. I mean, we think, oh, they're the saviors. Well, if they ain't making money, they ain't insuring anyone. And I was listening to the radio this morning. This is Monday morning, matter of fact, early. It's right at 6 o'clock. I went and got me some Mac Cafe for breakfast this morning. Well, for my coffee this morning. On Monday mornings, well, actually, usually on Friday, we put our trash out on the street. It's a big green bin that's got rollers on it, and we got a blue one for recycle, but it doesn't fill up very often. Last week it had snowed. We had 3 to 4 inches of snow, and they didn't run. People took them out to the sidewalk. I did, and I thought, ain't no way they're coming. And sure enough, they didn't show up. And on Saturday, the snow and the ice had melted a little bit. And I told my wife, I said, you reckon I ought to get those out there? I said, but I just don't feel like walking or getting out there, taking a chance on the ice. I don't walk very good regularly. And normally what I do when I take the trash out, this gets back to I've got coffee here. I put the trash can by my car, open the garage door, reach out my arm and grab it, and just drive to the street and just roll it, dragging it out there, old dude way. Because I don't walk very well. And so this morning, I told my wife yesterday, I said, well, they've still not picked up the trash all weekend. It's all clear, no snow, no ice. They'll probably come Monday now because, they get delayed like everybody else. And so I drug it to the street. And any time I've got to drag it to the street, it's my duty to go get McDonald's coffee. She likes McDonald's coffee, and I do too. I love the coffee I make out of the percolator. But if I got to get out and get the trash to the street, no matter how I get it there, it's coffee time. So I've already been up there. Well, back to the story, the California story. And now they're saying that these companies have been pulling out of California. State Farm and all these other companies have pulled out, and I'm insured by State Farm, and they said, well, it won't bother you if they're doing. Well, yeah, it does. I mean, if State Farm is. They said they weren't even through paying for the last fire they had there. I can't remember where it was, up in the mountain somewhere. And now, Governor, I think his name is Newsom, he's vowed to rebuild everything. And, well, how are these people going to rebuild? I mean, no insurance. And it ain't like some of these homes were built in the 40s and 30s and 50s. And, man, you can't, a piece of lumber was a penny back then. That same piece of lumber now is $25, $50. I mean, it's unreal what lumber cost is. I know when I had a landscaping company for, I'm trying to think how many years I had it. I started when I was 50. Oh, so 60, 65. about 15 years. And when I started working, we did all types of landscape. Everything from buildings, walkways from sidewalks to the house out of concrete. Concrete's gone up like unbelievably real. Landscaping timbers, stone patios and stone. My favorite was dry stack stone around flower beds. Yeah, I think I have a couple of pictures of that. If I do, I'll put those up. But we did all, and as the years went through, stuff just kept getting higher and higher. I mean, I had to pass it on to my company. I would just tell them, look, here's my bid today. It's good for 7 days. And at the 7 days, well, they said, okay, I may go about it, and I may have lost a little bit of money on it from what the original bid was. I mean, everything was changing so much. So, anyway, I understand it's going to cost a lot, but these insurance companies, they roll back the cost. They're not going to lose money. They roll back the cost on us in our premiums. And the state of California had this proposition some time back about if insurance companies were going to raise insurance, they had to go get it board approved or something like that. If the board didn't approve it, they couldn't do it. So the board didn't approve the raises, which I understand. So California, the insurance companies at California said, see, we just want to do business here. So, which is, this whole thing is, it's turned into a political deal with the governor getting caught like he was talking to the president by this lady. And, really was he said, oh, I'm talking to the president. Well, it turns out that there was no cell service there. And for a governor to be running around in disaster and not have a sat phone, oh, hell, what's the deal? He just going to use his iPhone and knows, is he not smart enough to know there's not service or his team? Anyway, the whole thing is crazy out there. I am glad I do not live in California. That's all I got to say. And what about the Carolinas and all through the East Coast? It was devastated by this hurricane. Those people are still living in tents, and they're vowing to rebuild California. Well, what about on the eastern seaboard, buddy? What about those people? And speaking of rebuilding, what about the people in Hawaii on those islands that got caught in that natural fire? I don't think it was set. It was a fire that happened in the mountains and burned down half of the island over there. They compensated them. I heard on the radio the other day they were giving them, each person that had a piece of property there or a house, $250. Yeah, think about it. So, our government at work, and I ain't no anti-government dude. I understand we got to have it, but it's like, okay, I'm like fed up with it, and I'm glad I'm retired. God Almighty, I'm just here for the ride now. Leave my old dude check alone that I get every month. Yeah, and it's gone up a little bit this month. I've got a raise on it. How about that? I might can go to McDonald's, get me a double cheeseburger, $1.50 cheeseburger on my raise, because my insurance went up on my medications and my health premiums. So every time Social Security's gone up this much, you're, at least on mine, and a lot of people I know, their insurance goes up. So, it always maintains that balance even though it's more. So, anyway. Life, and what year is this? 2025. Man, I remember as a kid in the 60s running around on an old Cushman scooter when I was 10 or 11 years old. Listening to Jimi Hendrix, and I thought, life is good. I can't wait to grow up. Well, It got here sooner than what I thought, and I long for those days back as a kid working on the ranch. I mean, I hated it back then. Oh my God, Dad, I don't want to go down and hoe 4 acres because we didn't have a tractor to do it with. 4 acres of garden, and the he wanted it clean. I mean, I was just like I was like his modern day slave. And my little brother and sister, though, they were too young. They're special. That's a whole different story. But anyway, so I was the worker. I got down there every morning. We had an old '55 Chevrolet pickup, an old what we called it, a pasture truck. I'd load that thing down because our truck garden was about an eighth of a mile from the house down in this bottom. Of course, no electricity, no water, no nothing down in there. So I had that old pickup, and I had me a transistor radio, which I still have. It's a little bitty one. And it still works. I had a little transistor radio, and I'd have it turn. Of course, it was an AM at that time. It was KLIF out of Dallas, Calif 1190, and I still listen to 1190 Calif. It ain't rock like it was then, but anyway, I'd listen to the Beach Boys and Endless Summer, and my Endless Summer was on the end of a hoe going down the road. Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles coming in, and all those groups, and which got me to playing rock and roll. Bought my first guitar. I already had a guitar by then, and I was, Dad wanted, what did he want me to play? Oh, country music, because he was a country fan. And I remember I had learned, 4 or 5 chords, and my cousin had one, a couple of buddies had one. We had a little band. We were in, I think, the 6th grade, and we had what they called hootenannies, which was in the gym of our little school. But we had a building, and it had a gym on one end, a stage in the middle, and we had all the chairs you could set up in the gym to see plays and stuff, or whatever they were going to do. And the other side was the kitchen, and they would have hootenannies to raise money for actually one time they raised money for a tennis court in my 8th grade year, and pole vaulting pit and stuff like that, because we didn't even have a football team. We were a little bitty school. But anyway, so we had a hootenanny, and they had some stars, people that actually had a record, 1 or 2 records anyway. I remember one time that not Ernest Tubbs came over, but his brother, I can't remember his brother's name, lived pretty close to Argyle, Texas, and his man come over and opened up, and then they would have ladies singing, yeah. Anyway, and then they would have these local bands, and we had a local band. I was 10 or 11 years old, and I always, maybe one of these years, somebody will say, I found this old recording of you. It would be a movie, shot on a home movie, because there was no digital back then. And you were singing with this group. You were like 11 years old, 5th or 6th grade. And I had a Gibson guitar, a 1952 semi-hollow body that I was plunking down, in my old Sears and Roebuck amplifier. And the song I chose to sing that night, I think about this now, I laugh about this now, because I had the heart to sing this. You're cheating hard. Yeah, like I knew everything about that song at 11 years old, but I was giving it my best. I remembered, I can't remember, I think we did Old Sunshine, this generic stuff, and cotton fields and stuff like that. So anyway, maybe one of these days somebody will come and say, hey, I found this old reel in my parents' basement, and it's got you, and I'll get it digitized. I would love to see me sing that song. So anyway, back to life in general. We've grown up quick, or I've grown up quick, and I'm here now trying to make the best of it. I enjoy my YouTube family. This morning I'm going to sit here and drink my coffee, and Usually in the mornings I do a tune-up on my knives. This is my little handmade knife that I made as a Boy Scout about when I was 11 years old. I use it every day and it's sharp. Yeah, see that right there? It's sharp. I did that cutting up onions the other day. So I just taken, this is an Arkansas Smith stone, and you can use them wet, put water up here, you can use oil. I've just never done that, especially just as a tune-up. I just run across it. I mean, I can tell it's sharp. I do all my knives that I've used that week. I ain't no knife making, well, I actually have made lots of knives in my life, but I ain't no expert as far as to sharpen them, but I can make them sharp enough to cut. I just maintain the same angle, and all these knives have different angles. This is an old heavy knife that I built out of a saw blade. I don't know if you can see the serrations in here that my dad had. He was going to make a knife out of it in the 60s. One of these days, you know, he never got around to it, so I did. So every time I take and I use this, I think of Dad. Well, hope he's proud of me that I made a knife out of it. So anyway, you can feel as it starts getting smooth all the way across there, and there's no drag, that it's all cut and it's all honed down to the same level, and it is sharp. That's how I do it, and it's sharp. And I love this old, I don't know what brand it is. I found it in an old cabin. It was just solid rust. I cleaned it up. Man, it's a great knife. You don't need much this morning. It's pretty sharp. I've got a recipe I'm going to work on this morning. Yeah, both are sharp. Put my Smith Arkansas stone back up. Well, it says Smith, Suffolk, Arkansas. Never paid attention. This was my dad's. I gave it to him one year for Christmas. I still use it. I've got a couple of diamond bone sharpeners. So here's what I'm going to work on this morning. You can't see it, but there's some beef ribs. November 12th, 2 beef ribs. They're big, thick like dinosaurs. They've got lots of meat in between them. What this was a standing, what do they call that? A standing, like a standing rib roast, one of those things you see with the little, that they stand it up and they got the little party hats around on the top. Well, this is a small one. It wasn't big enough to do that. And they were on sale for $5 a pound. And what that is a ribeye, well, bone-in ribeye is what that really is once you cut them. So it was cheaper than stew meat, so we bought it and took a couple of them and just grilled them and made, for ribeyes. They were great. I don't know I think I have a video on that. And the other, I made stew out of the meat and left the bone because I love barbecue beef ribs. Oh my God. The full ones look like a Tyrannosaurus Rex bone. You can grab it here. It's got a big old chunk of meat on it. Those things are like 40. The last time I checked at someone that had them at a barbecue place, they were like $40 for one. Now, it is good. It's like steak on a stick. They used to be, nobody even cared them because they wasn't worth anything. But it's gained popularity. My word of the day to get right, popularity. It's gained popularity, and it's gone up. It's kind of like chicken wings. You used to not be able to give chicken wings, and all of a sudden chicken wings are a deal, and you can't even buy them at the store. They're unreal price. It's almost cheaper to go buy chicken wings already done than it is to make your own. So anyway, I'm going to work on a recipe on that. You'll have to come back and see that because I'm going to use this Keys Southern Spice. Great story on this. I'll put it in a link in the description on how they got the name to this Keys. It's an all-around purpose spice. You can put it on a salad or chicken or whatever. It's not a Cajun spice. It's not like Camp Dog, my buddy, Papa Scott. It's not his at all. And matter of fact, him and I have talked about this. because I told him that they had reached out to me to sponsor, to give this product to him, not sponsor me, but to give this product to me, and I wanted him to know before I said okay to it, because I didn't want to. But he gives me lots of product. He gives me product to give away, and so anyway, I just want it's what you need to do. And so he said, shoot, yeah, no problem. So anyway, I'm going to use keys. This was started by an 8-year-old girl, blended this up in the kitchen. And I'm going to sprinkle some keys on it kind of lightly because there's not a whole lot of meat on it. And I'm going to do this in the air fryer. Hopefully I don't burn the house down. Hopefully I don't be like California. But I am still insured by State Farm. So State Farm, if you hear this and my house burns down, yeah, it wasn't intentionally for sure. Anyway, that's about all I got this morning for Monday morning chat. I've been rambling on long enough. I hope you're all doing good. I know I have a couple of people that my YouTube family and actually family members. One of them lives in Northern California. I checked on her yesterday, make sure she's okay. I knew she's like 300 miles away from the fires. But one of my friends lives in Los Angeles, and she's one of my YouTube friends, and I messaged her because she's on my Facebook page, A Country Boy Can Cook Facebook, and I messaged her, and she said, yeah, that they had gone, her and her husband had gone to California, and for something, I can't remember, they were heading back home. As far as I know, their house is still there. So, prayers to everybody in California, and prayers as all this stuff gets straightened out, and I ain't no super religious guy, but I am a believer for sure. I may not show it sometimes, I act, and I may be kind of a heather, letting my hair grow out long. My wife asked me yesterday, she said, you getting that cut? I said, no, I'm going to grow a mullet. She looked at me funny, and I said, yeah, business in front and party in the back. She said, oh my God, we need help. Yeah, we do. So anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. Old Dude Production is out of here. A Country Boy Can Cook is going to marinate some beef ribs, and y'all have to catch that whole video on another show. See y'all later.